डेटा भी आपके पास आ जाएगा। जैसे ही कोई नई बात सामने आएगी तो वो आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा। इसलिए यू आर एडवाइज टू be very regular to watch all those recorded lectures. That will definitely help you to make your assignment of e-portfolio particularly. So let's start today's lecture, week 6, lecture 11, School as Learning Organization, part 1. Learning outcomes will be, student will be able to explore the meaning of learning organization. What do you mean by learning organization? You will be able to understand the meaning and the philosophy of learning organization at the end of this lecture. And you will be able to connect your understanding with that of the school. Why do you think school is an organization that is a learning organization, and how can we make school as a learning organization? So in this way, you will explore the concept of school as learning organization. And hopefully in the subsequent part 2, we will try to focus more on its core characteristics. However, we will introduce you here in this part what are the core characteristics of the learning organization. So with these points, we will proceed. The concept of learning organization and its meaning for school improvement. Because whatever we are doing here is very much linked with the improvements in school. The concept of improvement, concept of school improvement is very much a complex phenomena that we have been discussing from the lecture 1. So school improvement is not only to improve a few things in school, but it is very much linked with all directly or indirectly affecting components of the school teaching learning processes. For example, if you say school improvement is to establish a very conducive learning environment in school, that's good. That's one point there. But in addition to that, you need to be look at the infrastructure, the building, the resources, even safe drinking water, water and sanitation, boundary wall, plantation, ventilations, and so many things. When you look at the UNICEF booklet of 29 ideas to school improvement, you will come to know what is the meaning of school improvement. So school improvement is a very broader concept that captures so many things. As school leader, teacher as school leader, principal as school leader, you need to be very much careful. You need to be careful about what are the areas which can help us to enable our students to learn powerfully. So those all concepts are very much related to school improvement. So here, learning organization, school as learning organization, before exploring what is the meaning of the school as learning organization, we need to focus on the term learning organization. What is the meaning of learning organization? So the meaning of learning organization is a place where people continually expand their capacity to create the results they truly desire, where new ideas and thinking are nurtured, and where people are continually learning to see the whole together. So this is called learning organization. Any learning organization means an organization, a place where people are conscious about continually improving their capacity to create the results which are truly desired for that organization, the results which are required for the organization to improve. So that's why you need to focus on all those results, all those things which play a significant role in improving your learning. So this is a place, school as learning organization is a place where you are focused on your learning. You are focusing on the learning of your students. You are focusing on the learning of the people who are involved there. You are focusing on the learning of everyone engaged in the school. So it is a place. Learning organization is a place where everyone is continuously expanding their capacity to create the desired results, and they focus on new ideas to generate, focus on their thinking, how can they improve the way they are doing, and those people are continuously learning from each other as a collective manner. They learn from each other. They learn at individual level, at group level, and the whole organization level. So if there is an organization like this with these characteristics, that organization is called learning organization. So a learning organization is established on the principles of innovation, free flow of ideas, and consistent focus on transforming the ways of doing business. This means that you can establish a learning organization on the principles of innovation. Innovation is very important. Without innovation, learning does not happen. When you look at Bloom's taxonomy, creativity is the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy. That is the higher order thinking to develop in students. If you are there in school, you want to develop that school as a learning organization, you need to focus on students' learning, not only at remembering and understanding level, applying and analyzing level, but you need to focus on their learning at evaluating and creating level. Then you can ensure innovation in school, innovation in learning of your learners. So that is one of the principles of establishing an organization on the principles of creativity and innovation. Free flow of ideas. What is the meaning of free flow of ideas? If you as students and teachers become very much confident and trust each other to share your views, to share your ideas, you can freely share your ideas. There is a flow of new ideas. When you will concentrate, when you will start deeply thinking on the things, when you reflect things critically, how can bring innovation in this way, you can develop, you can encourage free flow of ideas. Otherwise, when you will close your mind, when you will look only the surface level of the meaning, then at that point you will close the flow of new ideas. To ensure flow of new ideas, you need to be very much open-minded. You need to be very critically reflective practitioner. You need to think deeply. You need to focus on creating something according to Bloom's at the highest level. Then it is possible to establish a learning organization. And then another point is consistent focus on transforming the ways of doing business. Focus on transforming ways of doing business. What is the meaning of ways of doing business? When we look at school, our ways of doing business is teaching and learning. That is our ways of doing business. So you as a teacher, you as a principal and administrator, and everyone in school, you need to focus on how to transform, how to focus on the creativity, how to focus on emancipatory interest of education. As earlier we discussed that interest of education. So that enriches, that encourages individuals not only to focus on transmission of knowledge, but also that focuses on applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating of knowledge. So that's how we can enable individuals to focus on transforming the way we are doing. So we should reflect critically on our own activities. How can I improve the way I am doing? As Jake Whitehead in Living Educational Theories talks about. So that's the way we can transform ourselves and transform our students. So that is very, very important. So the learning organization, I will repeat over here. Learning organization is a place where people have these sort of characteristics, these sorts of principles which they follow, like innovation, free flow of ideas, consistent focus on transforming their activities, their way of thinking, their ways of doing. That is possible to create a desired results in that organization. And that is only possible where these people start thinking critically, start developing new ideas, and then they will engage themselves continuously in a lifelong learning process, not only individually but collectively in the organization. So when there is such kind of environment, when there is such kind of practices in the organization, that organization can be called as learning organization. So here we have developed our understanding of the concept of learning organization. What is the meaning of learning organization? Now we will move to next notions of the learning organization. What are the notions of learning organization? When you look at this literature, Ratner explains that this shift from thinking of learning as a transaction to learning as a process. You see, here is a huge shift. The notion behind learning organization was, this notion was basically based on a great shift. And that shift was from transaction to process. Transaction to process means here teaching is transferring knowledge, teaching is telling, teaching is transaction. When you go to the bank, you put the money in the bank, and later on you can withdraw the money from the bank. So that is a kind of transaction. Is a financial term. So learning is transaction. It was believed that when teacher gives some input to student, only student can reply to the teacher. So this was the concept of transaction, and it was focused on the lower order thinking skills, remembering and understanding. You teach a particular concept to student, and you focus on only remembering and understanding, and at the end of the semester or at the end of the year, when those students receive that information, remember and understand that information, and again reproduce the same. So this means that that was learning as transaction. Teacher told you, and you memorized that one, and you reproduced in the examination. So this is the concept of learning as transaction, whereas learning as process involves how things evolve over the time. Here, learning as process involves a huge shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered. You focus the learner. You focus the importance of the learner. You give a lot of importance to how a learner is learning, rather what the learner has learned. And that's very, very important to understand. When you give importance to the process of learning, you will focus on whatever you are discussing in the classroom, uh, and how the students are understanding those points, how you facilitate your learner to develop their clear meaning, how you engage them with questions and answers, comments and ideas, discussions and discourses, which help them to develop their clear understanding. They will be, at that point, they become able to apply that knowledge in real life situations. So this is the concept. This is the concept of great shift from teacher center to learner center. And I think it's a huge shift. And I think it's a big shift to understand the notions of learning organization. Learning as collaborative, learning as collective endeavor. This leads towards the concept of learning as a collaborative endeavor, the concept of co-evolving, concept of co-becoming, concept of learning things collectively through discussion and discourses. John Davies' concept of learning as an experience. So you experience, you do something, you practically engage yourself in discussions, in performing something, and in this way, your learning becomes a process of engagement where everyone engages how to learn, what to learn, and why to learn. So they address. So in this way, this becomes an interesting endeavor, not a transaction. Learning organizations are the most effective organization which demonstrate transformative leadership practices. Teacher as leader. If teacher believes in transformative leadership practices, if principal believes in transformative leadership practices, this is the highest level of interest of education. That is only possible these organizations become learning organization. Second important point, work to instigate a learning-based organizational environment. These people, teachers, principal, and other people in the school, when they focus on how to create an environment in the organization that is learning based. So everyone should engage with learning, and that is the second most important ingredient of a learning organization. And third most important point, which we can understand how this notion of the learning organization emerged, is continually promote learning behavior at all levels. When you change your own behavior, when you develop your own behavior to promote learning, when you understand learning is a lifelong process, it's not a limited process, it's a continuously engaging activity, and it is only possible that the learning organization practices in that way. Otherwise, it is not possible to ensure, if you do not focus on demonstrate transformative leadership practices, if you do not focus on work to instigate a learning-based organizational environment, and if you do not think continually promote learning behavior at all levels, it is not possible. So because these some key characteristics enable you to develop an organization as a learning organization. The final point here we will discuss about this the notions of the learning organization is engaging teachers in developing a professional learning community. In school, teachers and principal and even students and parents, when they all get engaged with each other to learn from each other's experience in order to focus on students' powerful learning. So this is the teacher. When you engage teachers to develop a professional learning community, every subject similar subject teachers, when they sit together, they learn from each other's experience, they form a community of learners. It helps those teachers to professionally groom, to professionally develop themselves. So in this way, in your school, when you engage teachers in developing a professional learning community, that is one of the most important characteristics of the learning organization. So with these particular notions of the learning organization, we can understand what is the meaning and what are the notions behind learning organization, and what are the most important areas which we can focus on to develop a school as learning organization. And I hope this point is till this point you will be very much clear about the meaning of the learning organization. So here I would like to stop over here, and would like to just uh, um, give you a kind of discussion and discourses platform to reflect on your learning and your understanding about these points, meaning of